We think of ancient Greece as the cradle of philosophy and democracy. But in 560 BC, on the Isle of Sicily, genius was turned to the mechanics of pure suffering. This is the Brazen Bull, a marvel of acoustic engineering designed to turn human screams into music. And the story of its creation has a twisted lesson in karma that you won't believe until you hear the ending. To understand the bull, you have to understand the man that commissioned it. The tyrant of Athens, Phalaris, didn't just rule. He seized power through deceit and held it through creative violence. For Phalaris, standard executions like beheading or hanging, they were too quick. He needed something that would make grown men weep just by hearing its name. And that's when a man named Perillos arrived. Perillos of Athens was a master craftsman looking for a payday. He knew Phalaris had special tastes. He approached with a pitch for an interrogation device. The device was elegant in its simplicity. A life-size bull, hollowed out, cast entirely of gleaming bronze. The victim would be forced inside through a trapdoor. A fire would be lit underneath the belly, and as the bronze heated up, the person inside would roast to death. It was essentially a slow, agonising kitchen device for roasting human beings. But the sheer brutality wasn't the selling point. Any thug with a torch could burn someone. Perillos had added an artistic flourish that he was very proud of. You see, Perillos was a sound engineer long before the term existed. And the most twisted part of the design wasn't the heat, it was what the audience heard. Perillos had engineered a complex system of tubes and stops inside the bull's head and neck. As the victim began to scream from the searing heat, their desperate breath would be forced through the pipes, and the device would distort the human voice. It stripped away the humanity of the screams, and to the crowd standing outside, the cries didn't sound like a human dying. They sounded like the bellowing of an angry bull. Perillos was so proud of this feature. He told Phalaris that the screams would come out as the tenderest, most melodious of bellowing. He had sanitised suffering for the audience. The tyrant Phalaris listened to this pitch, and then he looked at the man who created it. And this is where history delivers one of the most delicious instances of karma. You see, Phalaris was a monster, yes, but he was also an intelligent man. And as he had listened to Perillos eagerly explain his acoustic piping, historians tell us that he was repulsed. Phalaris was disgusted with the sheer eagerness of the inventor. Perillos hadn't just built a weapon, he was intellectually arrogant about the ability to cause pain. Phalaris decided that a man capable of inventing such a thing should be the only one privileged enough to test it. He looked at the inventor and said, "Perillos, if you want to prove your art, climb inside and pretend to scream so we can hear how the pipes work." And driven by his own ego, Perillos climbed inside the belly of the bull. And the moment he was inside, Phalaris ordered the door locked and the fires lit. The bronze began to heat. Perillos realised his mistake. He began to scream for mercy. But just as he had designed it, his pleas didn't sound human. The crowd outside didn't hear Perillos begging for his life. They heard the melodious bellowing of the bull. The inventor became the first victim of his own ingenuity. He was literally consumed by his own creation. There's another brutal detail to this. Phalaris didn't let Perillos die inside the bull. Before the inventor expired, Phalaris ordered him to be pulled out of the hatch, half roasted, still alive, and in unimaginable agony. Why? Because Phalaris didn't want Perillos to defile this beautiful bronze bull with his corpse. Phalaris had the then still living inventor dragged up a hill and thrown off a cliff. He denied Perillos even the dignity of dying by his own masterpiece. The brazen bull remained in use for many years under the reign of terror from Phalaris. But the theme of karma didn't end with Perillos. Eventually, the people of Athens rose up. They overthrew the tyrant Phalaris in 554 BC. And the Greek poet Pintar tells us that the very last person roasted inside the brazen bull was the tyrant Phalaris himself. It's a grim reminder of the ancient world. And when you dedicate your genius to the creation of suffering, be very careful. You just might be designing your own demise. If you enjoyed this dark dive into ancient madness, subscribe. And if you want more, check out this video on scaphism. It's brutal.